I'm going to talk about authentication concepts from first principles. So, okay, you all probably know some things about authentication concepts. You're a developer, you have been using APIs and all sorts of things in authentication. But can you speak a little bit louder? A little bit louder. Okay. The mic. Okay. Good.
I like just the word. I like just the word. You can speak now.
So yeah, we'll take care of that, I guess. So, cool. Yeah, so let's get into it. First of all, what is first principles? This talk is about authentication principles, but I want to you guys to take a lesson from this talk. Is not about authentication, it's about first principle thinking. I got exposed to this thinking pretty recently, again, sort of. So, we have been talking about AI and new things, but I really like this guy, Richard Feynman. If you know about him, really loved him while childhood. So, the way he thought about things was through first principles. Like if you watch his lectures or read his book, the way he thought about things, like gravitation is just like you are throwing pebbles of these gravitons between you, like two objects, very heavy objects, and like his whole mental models were so good. So we are going to do those kind of thought experiments to understand authentication principles. And the idea is once you get to that kind of thought experiment level, you will be able to not just understand authentication principles, you will be able to create of your own. Like you will be able to reason about it, you will see things, okay, this is exactly, this is OR2, this is Kerberos, they are very similar to each other, and like all those high level jargon things will just disappear, and that's the kind of thing I'm going for. So
what's the name you do? Richard Feynman.
That guy, you can Google it.
Name, what is his name?
Richard Feynman, his name is Richard Feynman. Yeah. Cool. So first thing I want to get clear is what is authentication and what is authorization. And from my slides you will see that it's all images. I'm not a great text person. So if you go to an airport, you show your ID and you show your not the passport, the ticket, right? Ticket or the boarding pass, right? So you show your boarding pass and you show your ID. Two things. So two things happen when your security guard takes your ID and your boarding pass. He checks. Okay, so ID. He verifies you are the guy who is. So you are Vedanta. Yeah, he says, yeah, take out the specs. Yeah, I think you are the person. That is authentication. You got it, guys. That's it. Yeah. Authentication is just verifying that you are the one who is claiming you to be. Like you are saying that I am Vedanta. That is you basically. Authorization is, do you have access? Should I allow you to go inside the airport or not? Do you have a flight or do you not? That is authorization. Very simple, right? Awesome. Cool. So why do you need authentication? So authentication, if you think about it, why do I have to explain that I am Vedanta, right? Is there something I gain by explaining that? You get to board the flight in airport, right? When you say, I am Vedanta, I have a flight to catch, I need to get to some point. In web, you generally have some sort of data, or you basically want some personalization in your experience. That's why you want to show, yeah, this is me. Like, I am coming to my YouTube, show me my feed. Or I am coming to my HDFC bank account, show me my money. So you have something personal there, right? Or you want, like, the greedy Facebook or Instagram wants the network effect to take place, so they want you to authenticate so that you bring your friends. So that could be another reason, right? So basically, you need some resource to be there to authentication to even make sense. Cool. So best resource. We are not going to talk about computers today. We are going to talk about money. Awesome thing. Everybody understands it. So intuitively. So you have a lot of money. That's our thought experiment. And like in computer world, it will translate to data. But we are going to talk about money. We are not talking about computers today. Cool. You have a lot of money. How do you keep it safe? Right? You live in a person. You live in your house. You buy a safe. Sounds like a good idea. I got a safe. I have a key to that safe and I put my money there. That's it. And I think pretty good solution so far. So yeah, that was the authentication, guys. I hope you liked it. Crystal clear. Yeah, crystal clear, right? You got it. But yeah, the web is not that simple. So let's make this thought experiment a bit interesting. In your house, you had the safe, you had the key, you were happy. But internet is like a party. Do you know this guy? Yeah. Yeah, he throws good party. So Jay Gatsby, this guy throws good parties. His parties are totally open. Anybody can be there in party. So total strangers in your house. Okay, imagine that kind of chaos. Total strangers in your house. You have the key to your safe. All the money resides there. That is your internet, right? You enter your password. It goes through every whole network to reach places, and there are bad people sitting in that network who wants to just get your password and authenticate to the HDFC bank that I am Vedanta, he is not Vedanta, right? So yeah, let's take this guy now. So problem, in that kind of scenario, the problem I see is I don't want to carry my key so much. So every time I want my money, first problem is who likes to enter passwords? Every time if I make you enter password, it's just bad, right? Yeah.
So the multi-factor authentication.
Yeah, it's two now, that's the worst. Right? So basically, that's my first problem. I have to carry my key every time. And second problem is that basically, there are strangers in your house, right? So you are keeping key somewhere, and you are every time you want to get money, you go to that safe place, get your key, and go. And now one stranger is just observing you, he got the place of your key, and now you are done for, right? So I have two problems. Now we have some intelligent people in this house and some toughies there. So that's the problem. You are Jay Gatsby, you have a lot of money, right? You have a key. One simple problem is that you don't want to use your key every time. I think, so I'll give solution for now because I have a lot of thought experiments and we'll see how it goes. It's not easy to think solutions on the fly as well. So we'll see how it goes, right? But you're with me for the problems of iOS. Awesome. So simple solution to this key problem where I have to carry my key every time or I have to type my password every time is that let's not do that. So whenever you have the key, I will give you a temporary token which basically will expire in some time, but it's not your permanent key. So your permanent key, you keep it safe. But your temporary token, like you have now, basically it will open the same safe. The problem it solves, it doesn't solve a lot of problems, to be honest. It basically makes it a bit easier in that sense that the token will expire. So you are not risking your entire life saving for a long period, but you are still risking it a bit. Still risky, not that great of a solution. It's just that, yeah. So that's basically your token systems. So when you give your key, you get a token in exchange, and now with that token, you can basically interact with your resources. That's all your JWT, bearer, token thing. Same concept. Did it solve all your problems? I don't think so. That's why internet didn't stop at that. Otherwise, we would have this, I will say, thank you slide again after it. So yeah. So basically, that's your JWT and bearer token in a sense, right? Awesome. Cool. This question I have. OAuth. How many think it is OAuth stands for open authorization? Raise your hand if you think OAuth's full form is open authorization. Or how many think it is open authentication? Okay, rest are hand up. That's good. Cool. So it is open authorization. Okay. Now, so no problem. The topic is nobody got right, I guess. Yeah. Cool. So yeah. So you got the token idea, right? We had a key. We basically wanted it. The problem was that I had to carry my key around, and it was not safe for me to basically every time go to my safe key place. That was the problem. Keep that in mind. We are in a thought experiment right now. It's let's stay to this plot, right? Now we are talking about OAuth 2 next, so the plot is going to get more intense. And yeah, let's talk about the plot now. So basically, imagine you had the party, but you are a rich guy, so now you have multiple safes. One for your jewelry, one for your money, one for your expensive keys of your expensive cars. So basically, if you have multiple safes now, that means you have multiple keys to manage. You have multiple keys to manage, that one key was already paid in the ass, right? one key management is like one password management. You had to just type your password. That was that situation. Now you have multiple keys to manage because you have multiple safes, right? You have, yeah. So that is not the great experience. And internet, if you think, every website is a safe. Every website you have some data. So every website you have a password. Now you have to manage password for every website, right? So it is a heavy task on a user experience level. So that was the problem which internet didn't like. So internet said, we'll fix this. We'll fix this. So we came up with this open authorization. Let's take a pause. It's open authorization. It's not open authentication. OAuth is not an authentication concept. It's an authorization concept. What is an authorization concept? You don't ask the question, I am Vedanta. You ask the question, do I have access to this thing? So when you do an OAuth to your Google account, that means you are saying that, do I have access? You are giving access to your name or your email. It specifically says which permissions you are giving to that app or thing that you are giving access to. So when you do the login through like when you do Google login in your Spotify account, that basically gives you a page which asks you, okay, do you want Spotify to have access to your name and email? So it is not asking you, like, it is doing authentication, but it's authorization concept. We are on the same page on that, I guess. Awesome. Cool. Cool. So we have multiple safes. So that means we don't want to manage multiple passwords, right? So there is this word called single sign-on. Let's just get that also out of the way. It will come up again and again. So first picture you see airport. In airport you have to put your boarding pass again and again. You go one layer, again boarding pass, again ID. Yeah, right? But if you go to a bar, right? They will ask you your ID on the gate. Okay, you are 18 plus. You can go in. After that, bartender won't ask you your ID. It will just serve, right? Only once you have to show your ID. So single sign-on, multiple things. You do whatever you want in Google. You want YouTube, Docs, anything. You basically have to sign up only once. Single sign-on, right? Awesome. Right. So coming back to our problem, we had multiple safes in our house. So one problem was, bro, I don't want to manage so many keys. Second problem was that I want my driver to be able to access my car keys. So I want to give him the access to my car keys, right? So like you don't want to manage multiple keys, and you want your driver to be able to access, to open that safe which has the car keys. Now I'll take a pause. Let's think. What could be a solution here? And yeah.
You can define a different role for him and kind of restrict what kind of permission is there and what permission she has.
Okay, and put it more better way. So you have a big mansion, okay? Where do you find role? It's a whole real life now. Yeah.
You can use something like the Fido2 authentication.
Bro, you have a huge house. You are a rich guy. You have money.
One more safe for the keys.
One more safe for the keys. Now, who has the key for what? Security. It's not a bad option. Security is not a bad option. I think give you a chocolate. Yeah. See, that solutions are simple. So what he said, security. Let's hire a security guard. Security guard's role will be to manage the keys. And I will tell security guards, this is the driver. See him, and whenever this guy comes, give him the keys to the car system. That sounds good, but that security guard must be really good, right? Yeah, if Ambani is hiring security guard, he will do a thorough check. Yeah. So we have some good companies which are branded like, if Google was providing me a security guard, I'll hire it. That is SSO guys. Google provides you the security guard and says, you know what, we got you. Come to us, we'll authorize, we'll authenticate for you. And you trust us? You trust Google? Right. Yeah. So yeah, security guard is the answer. You hire the security association. You say then, guys, I have a lot of money, I have a lot of keys and safe. So you guys need to manage this for me now. And whenever my driver comes, give him access to this particular car keys. Right? So basically, you authenticate with security guard. Guard issues you a temporary token to to basically access the safe, and guard manages all the keys. You don't have to manage different keys to all your safes. Guys, you already know what to do. So good, right? Yeah, that's what to do.
So how the security guard will authorize the driver? He will know that the driver is the right person.
Yeah. So how will you do that, right? So basically, when you hire the driver, you go with the driver to the security guard. This is the guy, like.
So I have to authenticate the driver to the security guard.
Yes.
first.
Just take example to when you went to your Spotify, you had the option Google sign on. You clicked on it. Spotify is your driver. Google is your security guard. You are saying your security guard, this driver should be able to access my name and email. Right?
Yes.
That's what happens. So that's OAuth 2 guys in a nutshell. Yeah. It's an authorization concept. So yeah, like you are saying, only this information you need to be able to access. But it is doing authentication as well. So it's like OpenID Connect is that they're being from the authentication concept part of this, and OAuth is a broader concept which can do a lot more powerful stuff for you. So yeah, that is basically your OAuth 2. You basically like you already got it, but just to reiterate, you make the authorization request to the user. Like Spotify basically is the application. It says that okay, is this guy like should be able to access, and you say yeah, he should be able to access, then the application can make the request on the behalf. So basically that's how you get the access token and you basically get the access, right? Awesome. Cool.
You can only guarantee this access here.
Yeah.
To a Wilson application is the one who is granting
Yeah.
the access.
Yes.
It has to go to server first to get the tokens and all.
So
Authorization server.
authorize. So
I was putting all in one block only.
yeah, that's the user block.
Yes, but isn't this more useful for third-party applications rather than us being the OAuth service for the API as well as the application? So that brings the security on our table and probably it's not as effective as.
So what was the problem we were solving? We were solving the two problems. We had a lot of keys to we had a lot of keys. We had so many websites, so many passwords to manage. Now Google said, you know what, I am the security guard, I'll manage all the keys for you. Right? So that it is a problem for user as well, right? Like my problem is that I don't want to manage so many passwords. So that was one of the problems that we are solving in this. So yeah. Cool. We are going to talk about Kerberos now. And yeah, like I originally planned this talk a bit longer because I didn't know how many interactions we will be having, but we might be finishing a bit soon because we are making good progress. Yeah, you will see.
I think I wanted to hear this question. I don't think it's
Oh,
answered
sorry.
properly. What you asked that time?
So I'll repeat. His question was that who is getting benefit out of this OAuth? Is it the third-party applications like Spotify who's just gaining out of this, or who is getting benefit out of it? Everybody's getting benefit out of it, right? Like Spotify getting benefit because they don't have to now implement a mechanism. They had basic password, but main is the user experience overall became better because now you don't have to manage password for Spotify separately.
I think we also mentioned that like it will be in our risk. Is it what you said?
Yes, what I said was the service API that is issuing the key, right? That is also on our end, but he said that it's actually solving the problem of multiple API keys rather than one single API. So that is something.
Okay.
Outsourcing the security from your applications. So the application only just take that token to the requirement.
Yes, but my question was that we can do that when we are authenticating with someone with, let's say, Google. I am accessing a Google account. But what about when I am authenticating the user who is mine? I am not actually going out and
It is cloud, then SWD.
Actually, the question is like, say for example, I'm in a company. I am accessing one of the server which is also within the company. It's not a third-party application. So why do I need? That is your question, right? Say for example, in this company, you have 10 applications. So for all the 10 applications, instead of having an individual authentication server each, you have a centralized authentication server. So like he told, the keys for individual person. So everything will be connected to this authenticated server. So when you access it to that particular application, it says like you're authorized or not, and then it issues a token for you. You can go for one application. So for all these 10 applications in the company, there will be a single centralized authentication server, like OpenID, or you can have your customized authorization server also. So this manage the authentication and authorization for all the applications within your company. So in your company also you won't have one application, right? You have multiple applications. I get your point. You're like, we are not accessing a third-party application. I'm accessing an application which is inside my company. Why? But you may have multiple applications.
I think what you're asking is if I'm having the user authentication information on my own, if I'm not talking to Google to get my Google login credentials, if I am storing the username passwords of all of my users, the responsibility for authentication is now on me. So is that a good thing? So what was the question? That is the scenario.
Yes.
But your question is
My question is
the responsibility is on me. So
because I am also in the JWT situation, right?
okay.
I am actually decrypting the JWT and then
The responsibility to do that is now on me because I am the one
it's
taking.
not entirely different from the situation that I was dealing with while I was using JWT. So that is what my question was. What is the extra benefit that I'm getting from here that I'm not getting there? That you answered, right? We have multiple.
Yeah. So, just to summarize this discussion, the discussion was if, like, why do we need OAuth every time? You don't need OAuth every time. Like we discussed peer token and we discussed basic auth before going into this, right? And those are still heavily used, right? It's like if you are making an internal API call, you don't use OAuth to authenticate, which makes sense. You use a bearer token and you use your password to do that because you know that's not, like major benefit out of OAuth was that you don't have to manage so many passwords anymore. So that was the summary.
So I wanted to add here. Previously we were using the password. We were carrying the password. Right now we are carrying the token, which is less prone to expose. Even if you see that, you won't be able to copy and paste it by just eyes. So by using password, instead of that, we are right now using a token, which is actually each token will be assigned with the expiration time, obviously, and we can have the refresh token as well. But at the end, you have to enter the password at once, but rest of the time you are going to use the token accessing the other services. So this is something which helps us.
And just to add on, right, one of the major reasons why people use OAuth is also the industry compliance. Your legal team will not be able to clear your solution if you do not use OAuth. This comes, see, while creating a solution, this may look like an overburden to developer, but the moment your solution goes for a toss in a data breach, right? This company plays with money, right? So your legal team, I haven't seen any legal team or a compliance team passing any microservices for user authentication without OAuth. This is, for a typical corporate, right? It will not work, and this is all because of compliances, not just with India standards, with the global security standards also, right? That's the one of the reasons why we stick to the most, acceptable solution.
Yeah, but now people are moving to Jot also mostly, because that is also self-sustained.
So to summarize this discussion, like OAuth use case everybody understands why we need that. Awesome. There are some compliance things as well, which I also didn't properly about. But so a lot of good reasons to use OAuth. It's good to have a good security guard, right? Like, and if somebody's saying I will take care of it, and why not, right? Just have to pay them. Awesome. Second scenario, the conversation that was happening earlier in this discussion was that why do we need OAuth for internal architecture? So let's make this internal architecture. The rich guy, the money, got married. And he has children now. Yeah. He doesn't know one of the children belongs to. Yeah. Gonna get a good marriage someday. So, and I don't know who's the third guy. So Amani got a family now. Now, family is different than a driver. Now, obviously. So, basically, you want earlier the case was you had multiple safes, of course. you are a rich guy, you had a safe for cash, you had a safe for your car keys, you had a safe for your jewelry. Now, can you ask your wife to say, like, you can't treat her like your driver, like only get the access to your car keys. Yeah. So basically, you need something is different in this situation, right? Something is different, and I don't want to pay Google because they are my family member. I don't want to hire a very posh security guard to do this, which can do like for everybody, right? So we're talking about it now. The analogy is with the internal services and internal architecture. You might have it in a team like Goldman Sachs or a big company. You have so much going on, but it's all in the end your family, right? Yeah. So I have this example where like you give your keys to your parents. So you say that whenever you want, you can exit the cash. Everything is good, like it is good. But your parents are not that savvy. People can be rough, and you are the rich guy, so you need to take care of these kind of stuff, right? Like somebody can just fool your parent to get the key, and once the key is gone, you are just done for. So like we are still reading back from this basic analogy where you were a rich guy in a rich house, you had the safe, you had the key, then your family joined in, you said, okay, I'll give all of you the keys. Now all of them have the key, but some of them are not that savvy and they can be fooled to get the keys. So can't trust parents with the keys, like they might lose it, they might get into problem because of that, and don't want to carry the keys for every single safe. Sounds good. You have seen this problem somewhere. Yeah? Who knows the solution? What can solve this problem? Yeah.
So if we talk about the analogy, I'm not sure about it, but if we talk about the real world, let's say refresh token, correct me if I'm wrong. Refresh token or something else.
Not necessarily.
But this is security. Security you told, right? You don't want to carry the key.
Yes.
So you hire a
And I'm going to give him a chocolate for that. It's easy answer. But it was right, security. I had a security man. That's the solution. See, it was easy. You were saying the refresh token.
2 chocolates and security.
2 chocolates and security. Yeah. Answers are simple in real life, and when you get to that point, then you will understand authentication properly. Like now, yeah. So awesome. Let's hire a security. There was one more solution though, where you basically like problem was that there was a key which could have been taken. So you add another key. Another key could be that you basically add a face detection in your safe, or you add a fingerprint in your safe, so that now only your parents' fingerprints is synchronized. Right? That can also be a solution, but that won't solve the problem of multiple keys that you had. Now you have to still carry multiple keys. Your parents will have to carry multiple keys. Second solution would be hire a security guard. Security guard will handle all the keys, and it will also authenticate your parents. Like it will say, yeah, I know this guy. I have the database. These all people are your family members. I can authenticate with that. That also works, right? So, but this security guard can be like a bit cheaper in the sense, because now we are talking about our family. We already have the list of this. We don't want to do the authorization control. That no, this safe you can't access, this safe you can access. So those kind of things are not there. This is not an authorization principle. OAuth was an authorization principle. It's much powerful. You pay for authorization there, right? Here is the concept is simple. One guard is a very old guy. He just knows a list of your parents that have access to, and whenever somebody comes, he just gives the key. He doesn't say that, oh no, you're a driver, you can't access your key. That he doesn't do. That is authorization. That he doesn't do. Cool. So that is basically your Kerberos solution. But yeah, it sounds very similar to OAuth that we discussed before that, because there also we had a security guard. Here also we had a security guard. The difference, like I already explained it a bit, like it's just that this is not an authorization principle. So basically, it's your family, it's not your house workers anymore. So you can give them access to every single safe, right? And then security guard used to verify like should be given or not. Now he already has a list and he just checks that list. So if you go back to that flow was that whenever the guard, you come with the guard text, when you will go to Spotify, You click on that and then it asks you to say, yeah, do you give Spotify the permission? Now the flow is not that. Now you basically go on backend and say that, okay, this is my father, like add him to the list. And now you don't have to do anything. It's not that you have to do it every time, like every single, like it's not going to expire, it's not an authentication you're doing again, it's just adding to a list that you did, right? There, whenever you give Spotify, it's a token, it will expire. So that kind of system was there. Here it's basically a bit different way of authenticating, but the major difference I would say is this is pure authentication concept, this is not an authentication concept. And that's why it's cheaper, and that's why organizations use it in their internal architectures, right? So, yeah, this is a complicated explanation, but you got the concept, guys. This is bullshit. Yeah, so, I don't even want to go through this, that's it. It's just jargon, like you get the ticket, you get the security card, but okay.
Say individual house versus apartment.
Yeah, it's like, okay, let's do this. Okay, so let's fit this diagram into our analogy and try to understand this. Okay, so user is basically your parent. Your parent want the key, like parent want access to your safe. So your service server is basically having your safe basically, which has your data. So you want user to be able to access data, which happens here. Before that, we need to do some steps. What are those steps? We just discussed security guard, right? We need to go to the security guard to get the keys. So your parent goes to your security guard. Security guard says, okay, what's your name? You are the father, I know, and I check in the database. Yeah, you exist. Okay, I will issue you a token. You can use that token to open the safes now. So you get that token. It's basically, this is two levels of again, security guard itself. One guard's job is basically to just give you the token to get the key of the safe. Second guard, you go to with that token and give that token and say that I need the key to the jewelry safe. So then it gives you the jewelry safe key. So basically one guy just checks in the list, yeah, you exist, take this token, go to that counter, ask for your key. This is the key, ticket granting service, basically is that counter where you say, okay, I want jewelry store's key. So you get, okay, jewelry store key, give me, and it gives you that. And you get the key, and then with that key you access the service. Finally, made it. It was hard, yeah? But yeah, that explanation fits in, right? Like, awesome. So if you remember security guard, the two toffees, that's all is there in over 2 and Barbaros, right? You don't need to fear these concepts anymore. Awesome. So what's next? So as I said, this talk is not about authentication. See, it was just about security guards. It's basically about devising your own thought experiments. This thought experiment when I was devising taught me authentication to a level which now I feel confident about this concept in a level which doesn't work with jargon. When you think it in terms of layman terms and like money and very different real life things, it becomes intuitive. Now, any concept you can understand with this. You know what is authentication? It's just fucking thing that are you the person you are claiming to be? That's it. Any authentication principle will fit in this definition. It's just a key to your safe that you have. So now I am giving one example where you can apply this kind of thinking. Now I've started this to apply this thinking a lot more in my job. So yesterday I was reading this, not yesterday technically, but I was reading this blog which GitHub published where they basically created a new strategy to do the merges, and they made it like crazy fast, like some 5 seconds to 200 ms it's taking to do the merges. And contributing to Git is, like Git is one software which everybody should respect if they don't. So if they made that kind of thing, so I was trying to understand what they did. And I started devising a thought experiment to understand merge ORT strategy. So you might know something called three-way merge, like what happened, many people might have studied it, right? Like what is merge versus rebase, basic SD1 stuff, you tell the junior developer what it is. Do rebase, don't do merge, yeah? So you need to understand what is three-way commit. So the way I was thinking about it is, it basically used, like me and my friend started doing a painting. And that painting, basically we are collaborating on that painting. In that painting, now let's say I was painting something, he was painting on the same thing, and one day we said, okay, let me work on this part, you work on that part. So we basically copied our things, we started working on this. Now we have a different painting which we need to combine. So if you think about a painting is just a lot of squares. Like if you think about it, you can break a painting into a grid, and you basically can have a color for that grid. Like that's how your images are, right? All this. So basically, if you think about it as a grid which has a color, right? And if your friend painted yellow on that square and you painted green, now what will you do when you are merging these? Either you can keep his color, or you can keep your color, or you can basically discard both the colors that were and take the original one, right? And if your friend created a new square which was not there, then either you can keep that square or you can reject that square. So now you are getting these kind of rules you will have to establish when you are combining the painting, and this is basically a merge strategy. This is what your three-way merge looks like. And now when you have this analogy in your head, now you go read that blog. Now you try to break it. What exactly did they change in that strategy to make it that fast? So that kind of thinking, when you get to, it will it's good feeling when you try when everything fits in the picture, right? It gives you that confidence and good inspiration, which I like about coding. So yeah, how did I got to this state? So I started going to this first principal meetup in Bangalore, which happens on every month. So this basically, I'm not I have no incentive to publicize it, but I like this meetup personally. It basically is about fintech. It's a pure fintech meetup. So lot less tech topics, but this way, there's a guy there, Satish, who thinks like this, and I love the way he thinks about fintech concepts. He just breaks them down to just VC money is just you trusting somebody to give the money or not. So that kind of level of abstractions he built, and then built the concept of how UPI works, how MasterCard works. So loved his thinking, and I'm trying to apply the similar kind of models in my job and in my technical aspects. So I encourage you guys to devise your thought experiments, think about things in a different manner, and it will help you unlock more. And I think if you just consume jargon, you will be a good consumer of the tech. But if you have to produce good tech, you have to take it one step forward, take it to the basics, build it again. So yeah, that's basically my talk. So thank you guys for listening.
One question.
Yes.
In Gurbalas, you had an additional step, right? When the authentication services, the security guard is giving you a token to access the key. He's not directly giving you the key.
No.
So that's a difference from OAuth, right?
Yeah, that's a good benefit from OAuth. Yes.
So that's two layers.
Yes.
So first, the security guard needs to authenticate you.
Yeah.
You get a token, and you use the token to go to a different key guard or token guard or whatever. Show him the token, and then he will give you the key.
Yeah.
Why is this differentiation?
And have you been to a sweet shop which does this? Like you get a token, everybody does it in Bangalore. I think. Filter coffee, go, it's a token, go now ask for filter coffee again. Like, I don't understand why they do that. I don't understand why they do that. They do that. Yeah, it's just
What is TGT here?
TGT is ticket granting to issue a ticket granting token. Ticket granting.
I have one more question. If you are checking the user twice in the service, when you are giving the TGT, you are checking that user exists, and when he has a token or something, then you are again checking the user, right?
No, he's checking, I think, that this service exists. Like you ask for jewelry, particular, so jewelry keys you ask for, jewelry safe exists or not, I will check and give you that.
So, I cannot understand.
So you got a token for filter coffee, you went to this guy who gives you filter coffee, he will check like the token says filter coffee or says sugarcane juice. If it says sugarcane juice, then we don't sell you something.
Here you are using Kerberos database. Instead of this, you can use the other database also, right?
Yeah, it's just name too, but because it's very thing. Yeah, it's called a filter coffee database.
Yeah.
Actually, the place where you
Talking about your own example, we had a security guard.
Yes. Yes.
But how can you rely that the security guard will work properly? He will not get drunk, he will not get bribed.
Yes.
When you are real world, how do you trust Google?
Social problem.
That's precisely why like SSO is a business now. Like people are building SSOs. I was curious like why GitHub is building SSO. Is that money making business? It apparently is, like I think. So you trust Google because the guard you will hire will have those problems. Like you can't trust anybody with their SSOs. So you only have very few SSO in every website still. And it will be the case because of that reason.
And that's why there's a concept of SSL, secure socket layer, that we use around the door, where somebody has to say to me that this is Google, some big giant. So that's why RSA on all these big giants, right, lay over their cards on the checksum.
And internally they are not sharing your username and password also. It's
Right.
a secret key which they are sending.
Yeah, I was trying to cover SSH and TLS as well in this talk, but I put it only this much because we are all almost on the time as well.
By the way, I feel like you are really fan of Richard Feynman. The first person I ever had is Richard Feynman, who started explaining things about the physics with the analogy, with the visual thinking. So that's what you were trying to emphasize. So when you start thinking or if you start building something or explaining something, take an analogy, visualize the thing, and after that put the things into the pieces and then you explain. And I think that's what I feel very good, and this is a great framework. I think it's called visual thinking, something like that, and that is great.
Not a fan of terminologies, so.
But I think overall you conveyed this.
Yes.
And the first teacher, I was not good in physics or something, but the Richard Feynman, when I saw the video, the way he conveyed the stories through the images, through the analogies, is literally awesome. And then and onwards, I love the physics. And that's great.
Yeah, do it for those people. Yeah. Put that paper link, go do it for that. Think about that and do it.
Sure.
So with the switch for example, I think the reason that person is untrusted with doing the program is because probably there is a camera sitting on that and the owner of the shop can see whether he is doing the right thing or not, and he is trusted with that. So that's why probably he is able to give that token. He does not kind of trust that if the money is given to probably the some person or the key person, then they might actually put it in their pocket and use stuff. So
Yeah.
that's one way of I think.
Yeah, that's just a optimization to get your customer good service faster. Yeah.
Ask like both one, you were authenticating and authorizing.
Yes.
Here also you are doing the same thing. It's just two
No, we are not authorizing yet. We are giving whatever key you ask. Jewelry key, take it. Yes.
giving the permission first. Then authorizing. If I am the driver,
What is authorization?
giving the permission.
Yes, boarding pass is the authorization. Do you have the access to this thing or not? Tell me where we are doing authorization.
For the example, I am the driver.
Okay, you are the driver.
I want to get the key of the car.
Okay, you want the key of the
So
car.
I went to the security guard.
Yes.
I asked for the key.
Yes.
He is authenticating that I am the security guard, and then if I am the security guard, he will be authorizing me for the key for the car. Right? This is all. But here you are.
He's got a point, because when you go to the security guard, the guard will just say ki, हाँ, this guy is the driver. The guard will not, should not decide ki driver has access to what set of keys.
Why not?
Because that is authorization, right?
Yes, but OAuth is not just authentication. OAuth is
Okay.
OAuth is
If you are going to-
open, it's full form is open authorization.
If it's both.
It's both.
And here all two.
Yes.
You
This is Kerberos.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
You are getting a token from a security guard.
Yes.
I am a family member. I am
Yes.
not the driver.
Yes.
So I get access to all the keys. Right? So if I am the driver, I won't get the token from
Yes.
security
Yes.
guard.
That is authentication.
So if I
No,
am
it's not authentication technically. It's like he has a list, so it's kind of doing authorization to basic level that every key has. I get it. So his point is that this guy is still checking if the database you exist or not.
It's the same, like in the very name and place.
Yeah.
First security guard, he will authenticate
As a driver.
and then he will authorize, like if I am not the driver.
But authentication, if you think
He will only check the database whether he belongs to that family or not, and then he will allow. We won't check, I mean, what access he has, right? There is no authorization.
In the first case, just one security guard is doing all the things. So why is it this one is used?
this one is for internal services.
The first one also.
That one is expensive. You can use it.
Only the expensive one is
Yeah, and you trust Google, like I trust Google, you trust Google, Volkswagen like doesn't trust Google. So it would use
That's why it's the same concept, like almost same concept.
Yeah.
Like it's not properly authenticated, but he's authorizing also the first security. Like he will check, he will authenticate, and he will also authorize that if I am the driver, I don't get the key for the same.
Yeah, but it's, so he's saying that if authentication is just proving your identity, then the first person, anybody, if driver comes and says, give me the key, he should give. But that's, like, I think I'll have to check this as well, but authentication is not just about this, but it's a very simple authorization as well. It's like what you are claiming is fine, but are you there on my database also? It's checking, so it's with some bit extra than authentication. I agree. So yeah, it's not just authentication.
It will check the roles and permissions also, right? So whatever you try to access.
No, that is not happening. That
First identification is done.
Yes.
Then he should verify that what is his role.
Yes.
He is a driver or he is a servant. All these things he should check, right? Then only it's kind of authorization also.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he is giving the token, right? If I am the driver, I don't get the token, or will I get it?
You don't get it.
I don't get it.
Check
So
the database.
there is authorization, at least at
Yes, there
one
is some
part,
authorization. Yes.
part wise.
Yes.
He is giving one authorization, then he is just providing the key according to the authorization, according to the token.
Yes.
It's just,
I don't think that's authorization.
Yeah, that's
Every authentication is simply checking, are you in my database? When you enter username password,
Driver won't be in the database.
when you enter username password, I'm just checking,
Yeah.
does it match entry in my database?
okay.
That's it. So if the driver goes there, my name is so and so, I check in the
So
database,
if I am the
his name
driver
doesn't
and I
exist.
want the
Yeah.
key for the car,
It's kind of like
Yeah, you fail at the first step only. You go and it says, who are you?
yeah.
You say, I'm a driver. He said, you're not in my list, go away.
no, I'm saying, like if I am the driver and I want the key for the car, whom should I go first?
In this model, unless you have been added specifically saying you can.
In beginning, he will know it is only for family members. So driver doesn't belong to family.
Yeah, so it is authentication failed.
Yeah, it's gone.
It is like any random person going and asking you
for family members. Like internal.
This question might be a little bit out of this your context, but I just want to know your perspective. So actually in AWS, IAM is majorly used for this role-based authorization, right? So like how is the IAM role-based authorization different from the OAuth role-based authorization?
So authorization is a separate topic. I love it. Let's talk about Zanzibar in detail, how Google does it, but not in this topic.
I think the thing I see about, when I look at the sweet shop example.
Yes.
So I went to the sweet shop and there was a person there. I gave him 20 rupees. He gave me a token of 20 rupees. Now whether I buy a samosa from it or I buy a roti from it or I take 2 rupees, that is my option. So that's what I am saying, that he gave me a unique key with which I can access everything. It's not he saying
Shopping mall.
yeah, if he is writing there, you are going to samosa, then probably it is not simple.
It's not the right example. Yeah.
There are these old-timey darshanis where you get a token of a color.
Right.
You get a plastic,
That's what.
a red plastic or a yellow
Yeah.
plastic. And you can use the red plastic to get idli or you can get this also, as long as the price is same. Since you brought up sweet shop twice. Alright guys, so that note, let's end it here, and you will still be here for some time, so you can catch up with him after this. Thank you for doing this for us.